Alright, it's the awareness about awareness that counts in life. So if you go through life, you're going to be going through a process, and you're going to be wanting an outcome, certain outcome, your desire. And to get this desire, you got to be understanding what's going on. And I view life as a video game. I literally view it as I view myself as an individual in a third perspective manner. So to give an example, like if I want to move my hand, I view it like I'm in control of my brain and I'm moving it, right? Of course, everyone does that, but are they really thinking about it in that manner? And once you do, you gain the metacognition and the thinking process to initiate emotions, and then your emotions are just going to be energy dispersed out to manifest an outcome you want. So in this video, I'm talking heavily about entrepreneurship and why I chose it, how it benefits me as an individual. Our boy Luis coming. There's going to be a lot of value throughout this whole video.
I'm actually going to meet with him soon. We'll talk about that. I have the contract ready for you. Alright, wait. You don't have time? You found someone else. Oh my god. Mr. Garcia, look. 7 other people said that the same thing. And, they're wrong. The power of the internet is something else. I want you to be the first one to... Oh, fuck, bro. I think he hung up on me. This entrepreneurship is so hard, bro.
It's tough.
Oh.
It's fucking tough, bro.
I don't think I could do this no more, bro.
He's hitting you? Did you get into that point?
Oh, dude. It's just fucking hard, man.
It is, bro. Entrepreneurship is so fucking hard. So, I want to talk more about the difficulties. Actually, to talk about both. There's negatives, the pros, the ugly about entrepreneurship. By the way, that was a skit. You didn't know that.
I deserve an Oscar, huh?
Us. So, like I said, I want to be giving a lot of value in this video, not just on entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship, it's like you are in control of your life, you are in control of your outcome, but it's going to be heavy stuff. So, first thing I want to talk about is the why. If you've been thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, you got to know why. Why are you doing it? What outcome do you want? And what is going to be your backbone for when times get tough?
Yeah.
Because they are. So, to start off, my personal story is, my why is, I wanted freedom, either that's financially or externally, internally. I knew entrepreneurship would build me a hell of a character, because entrepreneurship is so rough. And if you study the game, the study of life, all the top dogs, the people I respect, they're entrepreneurs. They're very, very successful individuals in all areas of life. Of course, there's the here and there who get too extreme and end up losing the balance in life. But entrepreneurship does build a hell of a character. Within this few time that I've been an entrepreneur, I've seen a huge difference within my character. So that's probably the 2 biggest reasons: freedom, financially, externally, like I said. But I know that being an entrepreneur is going to make me an individual that's going to provide tremendous amount of value to the world. That is my why.
As for me, it's very similar. Just like, for school wise, is I was always good at school. You can say high school was kind of a joke.
Hell yeah.
You just show up, take a test. College is kind of the same way, but I mean, I don't know. School system's another thing. It is flawed. It's broken. But as for me, it's just like, I don't want to be part of a rat race, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to go to work every single day and be like, why am I doing this? I hate this. And, you get paid good, but it's not all about the money. And, like, I know everyone says that, but money is a source of capital, obviously, to move, right? So I don't want to say, oh, I'm not doing it for the money. Like, there's going to be time where there's money involved. There's going to be time where, okay, I'm okay with not the money, Like, I want to really impact. Also, kind of self-brand, like, internally. Like, I want to achieve myself. I want to test myself, like, literally push myself to a limit where, like, how am I going to overcome this? And they don't teach you that at school. They don't teach you how to problem solve. They don't teach you that. Like, entrepreneurship is really brutal. Like, it is fucking hard. You're thrown out in the water, not knowing how to swim, surrounded by fucking sharks. Like, think about that. Just put yourself in the fucking ocean with sharks not knowing how to swim. It's fucking scary. You might fucking die. I'm not saying entrepreneurship is going to kill you, or I don't know.
It might.
It might, but, I mean, self-brand. Externally, I don't want to, fame and success. I don't want to say they correlate with each other, because you could be very successful without being famous. You could be famous, and who knows? Usually you are successful. I just want to kind of be a self-brand where like Luis Fausto was known for this, or he helped do this. He was part of this collection. He was part of this collaboration. I don't really care if that happens, but it's like it's one of my kind of goals, I guess you can say.
I agree. I agree heavily on that, on the external factor, because it's just a source of credibility and authority. Exactly. And once you do that, you can get people's attention much easier rather than who's this guy?
Yeah.
Or these kids in recording a video in the car. But
you're gonna remember this.
What I'm trying to get across is with entrepreneurship is that it's just a way of life, and it's definitely a huge way to be living. And I want to talk about biological factors, human behavior, metacognition, the benefits of entrepreneurship. Well, we've gone through already, but to start off, I do want to talk about, should you be an entrepreneur? Should you understand or make the decision to pull the trigger? I'm between a cross bridge of yes and no, because some people naturally are born more anxious. They don't have a high stress threshold. They are just more limited with their biological factors. It could be the hormones. It could be their mentally. I read that some people are just naturally view it like they put in the perception of air conditioning. Some people naturally on their happiness level, they have a higher degree for happiness. Say they reach like 90 degrees of happiness, just for example. That's like their max limit. Versus someone can literally only have 70 degrees of happiness, and everyone ranges differently. So that's just an example, but I believe there are internal factors biologically that aren't necessarily in your best favor if you're an entrepreneur. But I say I'm at a crossroad with this, because I believe that you do have the power within your own mind to really change your mind, neuroplasticity, rewire your brain, and then take action in the manner of the outcome you want. So, for example, introverts, they have more of a problem doing extrovert solutions because of the introvert behavior that's natural for them. But that doesn't mean they can't do it. There's great introverts out there that are killing it.
Oh yeah.
In fact, most of the top dogs are introverts. Zuckerberg, Bezos, Bill Gates. These guys are introverts. They overcome, but you just gotta have the mindset first to achieve that. So I believe human behavior, your biological factor, has a big role on it, but it's not the end of the world. Just be aware of that's the first thing.
Yeah, the first thing is like neuroplasticity. If you don't know what that is, look it up. We should do a video on that. Another thing is
it's like literally when your brain learns something, it creates new neural networks that it literally remolds your brain, and those connections connect with other connections, and it just forms
it's like the adaptability of the brain, huh? It's like how the brain adapts using what you know already. So it's like it's cool. So, anyways, as for genetics, like I think being an entrepreneur is very genetic. Like imagine, like for example, if you're both of your parents were like successful entrepreneurs, there is a chance there's gonna be a gene in there. Whether it's like they're good under stress, they're very agreeable, maybe like very social, maybe that you will carry as well. And who knows what you'll do with that? Maybe if you do become an entrepreneur, there's a good chance that you will be a great entrepreneur because of that gene from your parents. So I also want to talk about one thing we all have, and that's emotions. A lot of people don't know how to deal with those. A lot of people do. As for me, I've learned the hard way. I've always been a very attached person. I am very attached to certain things, and like when I really like something, I'm very attached. But I've learned that you gotta be detached at some time, and at the right time. Like for example, like this whole concept of EQ. How are you aware of your emotions, and how are you gonna react to that? There could be an external factor that's gonna piss you off. There's gonna be an internal factor that's gonna piss you off. Maybe if you're more sensitive, maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you. If you're good with dealing with people, if you're like, okay, good with constructive criticism, entrepreneurship might be something you might be interested in. So it's all also, the whole genetic thing probably has to do with a lot of IQ. Maybe not everyone's born with a high IQ. There's people that are born with the average IQ. There's people born with a low IQ. But EQ is something you can work on. And that level could vary up and down. And I don't want to say that it's all EQ, it's all IQ. It's all up to you too. Like, what are your weaknesses? You gotta be aware of your weaknesses. You gotta be aware of your strengths, and how can you apply them and really mold neuroplasticity and adaptability of your own, like,
That's
your
huge.
character.
That is huge. Most people, they even before that, they set the limitations of themselves. They put
Exactly.
factors like, I can't do this because of blank. Well, if you're already thinking like that, it's true. Whatever you believe is right. So if you can cultivate this new mindset, and this is why I believe entrepreneurship's huge, because it's a continuous process. And a true entrepreneur, like, never gets satisfied with what they know. They always gotta adapt, because business is war. And if you're not adapting, so a new troop is gonna come in with better tools, better knowledge, up to date information, and just wipe you out. So as an entrepreneur, you gotta be on the cutting edge, always constantly learning and adapting. And once you know the game, you're gonna have an upper hand, not just in life. I do believe entrepreneurs, they are, in a sense, like superhumans, because they just view reality in a different manner. But I believe entrepreneurship has to be highly correlated with knowledge. But then I believe wisdom is a huge role into the formula. But we'll talk more about that later. I just want to come across that entrepreneurship is just you giving value to the world, and the world is going to reciprocate with money. That's what a business is. So with your human behavior, your awareness, like Luis said, your strengths, your weaknesses, build something based off your strengths and give value. And then if you do it right and you are doing it in a manner effectively, you should get paid. Elon Musk said you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems you solve. So if I'm good at numbers, like if I'm a genius with numbers, I have a high IQ, I'm not necessarily very social, I would rather build a software company rather than go into sales. That's a big difference. That's a big variation. But you got to be aware of that, and then just double down and focus. So that's huge. Peter Drucker, he has one of the simplest but most powerful books. It's called Managing Oneself, and he says most people think they know what they're good at, but most of the time they're wrong. And that's entrepreneurship itself, because
that's crazy.
There's always going to be self-doubt. There's always like, am I doing this right? What if and this is to metacognition, like, what if I have the confirmation bias upon myself? Do I really love what I'm doing, or am I just lying to myself? Do I have the sunken cost fallacy or in play? There's so many things that with this journey of life, with entrepreneurship, not even entrepreneurship, just life in general, it's just going to be very difficult. There's going to be a lot of suffering, a lot of doubt, but you got to persevere and fight that friction and inertia to keep moving forward. What do you guys say?
I think I want to go into that in a different perspective that really ties in. One of the most iconic people to ever exist, Albert Einstein. He said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that is so true. Just think about it. And I think entrepreneurship is all about testing, split testing. You're going to lose money, but in order to make money, you got to spend money. Money doesn't just fall out of the fucking sky. Like, let's be real. Like, it just doesn't come to you, right? It doesn't fall in your fucking lap. You got to fucking sacrifice yourself. Accept the fact that you're in the fucking trenches. And excuse my profanity, but it's just like, it's real. Like, you be in the fucking trenches and be proud of being in the trenches. Because you know what? Once you're on top of the level, that fucking Empire State Building, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you're going to remember, I was in the trenches one day. There's other people in there that are going to come out of those trenches and be here. So just sacrifice. Don't be scared of risk. I understand, like, there's self-doubt. And it's not bad, but it's limited. You really don't know till you do something. I was scared of, like, dude, what if this doesn't sell? Or what am I doing wrong? Like, it's good to really analyze yourself. Like, okay, you probably did do something wrong, but how are you going to do it differently? You don't want to go insane, like, okay, this is working, but there's no results. Like, that's insanity. You want to just always split test things. In life, too, it's not just entrepreneurship. In life, like, okay, why did this relationship didn't work, right? Why did I fail my test? Why are me and my parents arguing? Like, let's be real. Like,
I think that what you said is huge. Split testing, experiment. Like, you got to be out there trying new stuff all the time. But here's where life, it throws the curveball at you, is that once you're out there variating too much, you're scattered, you're not focused. But this is what I believe, I'm picking up from you, that you gotta focus first, like, know your strengths, double down on that, and then test within your strengths. Maybe, for example, if I'm good at sales, I can do life insurance, or I can do digital marketing, or other areas within my strength. But life has a lot of curveballs. You can have these mental frameworks, and then you're just gonna come across a situation when that mental framework doesn't work. And that's the key thing about life. You gotta be adaptable, and you gotta be like, okay, that principle worked a while back, but now I gotta do it and approach it in a different manner.
Yeah.
And another thing about entrepreneurship is that there's gonna be a lot of information out there. There's gonna be even this video. It's information, and your brain is gonna take it in and create an outcome and just create knowledge for you. But you gotta be very careful in who you listen to. For whatever outcome you want, you gotta be careful who you listen to and filter out the noise and really listen to what's worth it then. And when you do this, it's you just gotta be in the game long enough to understand what is going on. Is it true? Is it valuable? And is it informative? Is it gonna benefit you? And when you do that, you're gonna be cherry picking the golden nuggets from other individuals that you know are worth a damn listening to, and you're gonna build your own intuition. This is huge. This is where something I learned to fairly recent. When you build your own intuition, you are gonna understand that you're a unique individual. You have your own outcome and desires. So, based off the good information, you're gonna build your own intuition, and then take the action you want to get the outcome you want. That's a huge thing. Most of these people, they just follow what's going on, and they don't necessarily end up listening internally, and they fall externally because they just wanted everything from another person's view.
Exactly, and I think that's why reading is really helpful.
Huge.
Really, like reading builds your intuition. Think of it this way: this metaphor. For example, there's junk food, there's healthy food, and we all know what tastes good, which one we prefer. And I know a lot of people, maybe 95%, say junk food, right? Same thing with information. There's such thing as brain junk food. It's like, but reading and building that intuition, you get to filter out. It's like your brain's on a diet. It knows what to like accept in, and it knows what to like throw out. Like, okay, that's gone to waste, that's expired, or like, you probably shouldn't be taking that. So it's like when you build your intuition, it's read things that make you feel uncomfortable, read things that go against your beliefs, read things that you believe in,
and then when you read enough, like I said, you're in the game long enough, you're gonna be reading a book and you're like, okay, like, is this really worth my to be putting into my intuition? Because there's a lot of books out there, there's a lot of fluff, especially in the self-development. If you've been reading, I've been reading a lot of self-development for the past couple of years, and I find a lot of it's repetitive and it's a lot of fluff, and they put into the stories. I'm not hating. I'm just saying that the opportunity cost of that. Is it actually benefiting me, or is it actually hurting me? You just gotta be aware and filter out like that brain junk food. But don't get me wrong. When you're starting, just listen, and like when you start getting your own intuition, you start leveling up.
Yeah, that goes to another, like the whole topic of being vulnerable. Like, yeah, you gotta be vulnerable at the right time. It's just like you're always gonna be, you're probably gonna be a little fish in a big pond. You're probably gonna be the big fish in a pond, right? Depends. But when you are the little fish, be vulnerable. There's always something else to learn. So it's like the learning never stops. I feel like people like when they think they made it, they start getting very satisfied. And like we mentioned before, an entrepreneur doesn't ever get satisfied because there's always more, right? And it's not like, oh, there's more money to make. There's just more to learn. Like, be obsessed with learning. Like, it's just a fun experience. And like we said, like you build intuition, you get to filter out the things you shouldn't intake. You're gonna be very more aware of what you read, who the people you come across, and who to build relationships with. And it's a work of art, honestly. You're your own artist. Like you really get to like paint your own picture. And I don't want to sound too cliche, but like think about it. Just really think about that. And I don't know. What do you
think? I agree. Like 100%, it's work of art because everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own colors, ingredients.
Exactly.
So, like I said, what we're saying, you can take it in a certain manner, and you can do something different than what we're trying to get across. But
one thing on that note, before we go on to the next topic, is one thing that Gary says is like you're not shit. I'm not shit, right? And like even Gary being a successful entrepreneur, he's like, I'm not shit. It's just like, I like to go do something about it. So it's like, just do something about it. Like, go do something. Learn how to build your intuition. Be aware, and build metacognition too. The whole thinking about thinking.
That's what we'll move forward to. Metacognition. This doesn't just apply to entrepreneurships, but since entrepreneurships are taking a route that they are not going to be in the realm of security, to get the big results, you gotta get a lot of value and understand the game. Like I said, I view it as a game. And once you understand how the game works within your own mind, you have the cheat codes.
Mm-hmm.
You understand your internal thought process, your emotions, your energy, and then you're gonna start exerting that and getting outcomes. So metacognition stands for thinking about thinking, and once you start thinking about you thinking, you're gonna, when you're exposed to certain situations, for example, you're watching this video, when you're exposed to this, you're gonna be thinking, do these guys have good information, or are they just rambling, or are they just talking about their ass? And when you do that, you have a huge upper hand versus the person who can't really take the time to even think about that. And that's the simple form. I'm putting it in the simple form. But once you understand thinking about thinking in the subconscious level within your human behavior, this is where life gets a little bit, what's the word I would use that for? Like, it's, I would say interesting, but at the same time, it's more in depth than that. So
It's just like a challenge though, overall.
Huge,
Yeah,
huge. It's like it's a trying to fit a piece of a puzzle that you know will never ever end.
Yeah.
So once you start thinking about it in the subconscious manner, you're gonna be like, okay, this is what's going on, and you're gonna be aware. And a good quote to summarize what this is, if you walk in a room and do not know who the sucker is, you're the sucker. So if you go throughout life without necessarily understanding your thinking process, you're gonna be a sucker throughout the whole journey of life. And life is what you make out of it. And you know, everyone has the subjective concept of success. Everyone wants different outcomes, but you can get that success when you have the thinking process and you can understand the subconscious manner. And the mind is very limiting, and at the other hand, it's very, very huge in the sense of fulfilling your dreams. Like, I get uncomfortable talking about this because I'm at a state where I'm not hugely successful. I don't even know how I consider myself like 1% successful, but I'm willing to share this because I've gone through the change and I've seen the huge difference of quality in life and my thinking process in general. Like, I feel like I leveled up so much as an individual. It's difficult to articulate, to even express how it is, but it's just, like I said, a work of art. Life is a work of art, and when you understand this, you're like, and then like an artist paints with a certain type of brush, you're like, I can use another type of brush.
Yeah.
It's just too much out to that. This is why the mind is a trick.
And that's a thing too, like, and it comes down to, like, with criticism, like, fear too, like, what would that person say, or like, what's that person gonna say about me or my art or the way I'm painting or the brush I'm using, whatever. But it's like, there's other things to be scared. Like, personally, I'm scared of, like, actual physical people. Like, what if they break into my house? Like, that's something to be scared of, right? I'm not scared about what people say, because one of the reasons I'm not scared of what people say is because I'm not doing anything bad or harming anyone. I'm bettering myself. There's always going to be haters. Haters aren't motivators, and I want, this is my perception of that. Haters aren't motivators. Haters are haters, like, straight, like, haters are haters. Motivators actually care about you. Haters don't care. So it's like, don't be saying, like, oh, use that fuel. Yeah, you could use it as fuel. Like, okay, another person just hating on my thing, on my movement, right? But don't do it for them. Do it for yourself. But also really know who's motivating you, or what really matters. And a lot of that has to do with adaptability. So you gotta adapt to the constructive criticism. What can you take in? Same thing as intuition. Your intuition is gonna help you with this. What should I be listening to? What should I intake to better myself? Ignore the noise of constructive criticism that's not helpful, and accept the one that's actually helpful to you. Mentorship is big. You gotta learn from the people that have already made it. Even though, go ahead, ask someone, probably an uncle owns a business, like, yo, can I stay with you for like an hour and kind of observe and ask you questions? They're probably running a successful business. You got to learn from people who've already made it. So it's like, put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, because that will really mold you. And like entrepreneurship, you got to have thick skin. You got to accept a no sometimes. You got to appreciate the yeses and just keep moving on. Like, you really just learn. It goes back to testing. You got to keep testing, but really on your skills and what you're doing wrong and what's really working. So
I like what you were saying about just entrepreneurship. This isn't applied to just entrepreneurship, but the concept of ego, because when you have the ego and you have your identity, you are going to be acting in a certain manner because of your ego. I've gone through this. I have internal battles with ego all the time. Ego is not horrible.
No.
You need an ego to get the confidence, to get the confidence.
Gotta control it, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when you think you're controlling it, that's the ego whispering within you, and you're like, you got it under control. But that's why it's very, very confusing. This is why Socrates said, "I know that I don't know anything," because whatever we just said to you, at the end of the day, do we really know anything?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's too much in life for one individual or any individuals to just give you concrete information that it just fits perfect for the puzzle of life. There's too many things, but the mystery of the process of life and everything, that's what makes it interesting. So
exactly.
Back to the subject of ego, I've went through it. It put me in a bad spot because my ego represented my identity, and when I came across exposures that my identity didn't feel coherent with, it just ended bringing me down. And when it brought me down, it just created this snowball effect towards the negative route. And
it's crazy.
If I was aware of my ego, like I read Ego is the Enemy. Like I read books on the ego. I'm aware of it, but even you can be aware of it and it still get the upper hand on you. So it will always be like that. But what I'm trying to say is that just be mindful of it, and understand you're never ever gonna harness the subconscious. But this is life. This is literally about life.
Exactly.
So ego.
I think another thing going in with the ego is one thing, as I mentioned before, this kind of going into the topic, kind of taking ego with it, but is how to read people and how to build relationships with the right people. So one thing I really am, like, what I live by is, like, I don't want to change a person. I rather want to impact them. And there's a big difference. And, like, the easiest way to explain this is, like, for example, this car. Tin, for example, this is his own car, but Tin, his life is a car too, right? He should drive it, right? Me being someone that changes him is like, yo, bro, let me drive your car. You know, let me really tell you where you're going, and whatever you say is bullshit. Like, you know, that's changing. That's changing someone. I want to impact, and what's impacting? Tin still has his car. Tin still drives his own car, except I'm the GPS. You know what I mean? I'd rather be a GPS than the driver. And just really think about that. So it's like for example, another example is relationships. You know, whatever, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. They always put their walls up, right? Because why? And their past relationships. My boyfriend did this, my girlfriend did this, I didn't trust them, this and that. Okay, cool. Everyone goes through that trust. Everyone has trust issues, and I truly believe that everyone does. But it's like, why are you going to judge a new person based on someone else? Everyone's different, right? So it's like, how can I really impact someone when not changing them? Rather, give them the fundamentals, give them the skills for them to change on themselves. And that goes back to intuition. It's like, how can I impact, you know? And
that's the key thing too. Like you said at the beginning, reading the person, and when you read the person, that builds your intuition. You got the psychometrics, you got the skill for you to just adapt and deal with the person in a manner like, how can I impact them in a way that I know will be more likely to work.
Exactly.
Nothing's guaranteed, but
and that's like,
once you have the understanding, you can take action in a certain manner that it's more likely to be an outcome.
And that's why I kind of like let it from the ego part, because your ego could get in the way from that. Your ego can really take over your full character and be like, okay, I want to change you instead of impact. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of went to that topic based on the ego.
And talking about these stuff is very difficult. Back to even the ego, a lot of people could be watching within 2 minutes, and then their ego's like, who cares? Like, who are these kids worth them listening to?
Just in a fucking car, right? Nah.
But there's, like I said, there's just too much in life that it can't be just broken down so black and white. Life is not black and white. There's too many things going on. But we went out this for half an hour. Dropped a lot of value, in my opinion. Let us know what you think. If you watch all the way through, congratulations, you got a good attention span. So
I'll send you some Bitcoin. How about that?
Be serious. DM, I bet you will.
DM me or send me. If you have me on Snapchat, I'll send you some Bitcoin just for watching this 30 minutes. I'm out of my word. I've already sent 2 people Bitcoin, so.
Give me the third.
But I think what we've talked about though, like on a serious note, back to the serious note, is all these fundamentals: ego, intuition, how to read people. is entrepreneurship at its core, and it's like there's always new things to learn. You gotta really just fight through it. You know, you're gonna be thrown into the ocean with sharks, not knowing how to swim. Just that's fucking scary. You might fucking die. Entrepreneurship may kill you, but I mean, that's the fundamentals. And I mean, like we said before, it's not that you can't do it. Just really capitalize on your skills, and
it goes a long way. So, hope you guys found this interesting. Hope we got a lot of value.
Hello, Mr. Garcia. You want to close the deal? Hell yeah! All right, I'll have the contract tomorrow morning. All right, thank you, Mr. Garcia. You just made my day. All right, you too. I fucking love entrepreneurship, baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah, entrepreneurship will bring you some amazing outcomes, but it will bring you some devastating outcomes as well. So keep that in mind. All right, so we'll see you guys soon. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.
Peace out, guys.